She's #1 at being dumb, the new face of the DNC. Gather round, cause that's our Jazzy.
Jasmine Crockett's got another hot take. No blacks and whites on a wedding cake. The Democrats' new chosen one, Jasmine Crockett, is in the news again for an old clip where she attacked Florida Rep. Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman.
Greg Gutfeld unleashed pure chaos on Jasmine Crockett, live on national television, and the fallout was absolute disaster. With razor-sharp sarcasm and unrelenting fire, Gutfeld dismantled her act piece by piece, leaving her speechless in front of millions. This wasn't a calm debate, it was complete demolition. Crockett arrived with polished lines, but Gutfeld came armed with raw intensity, and the collision was explosive. The crowd didn't just watch, they erupted with energy, while social media burst into a frenzy within seconds. If politics ever seemed dull before, this moment proved it could ignite like wildfire. The screen burned with raw energy, and Jasmine Crockett never saw it coming until it was already far too late. Like, before we move on, don't forget to hit subscribe button.
Or literally, it's because you married a white woman and so you think that that whitewashed you.
That's not very woke, is it? Of course, Crockett isn't the only Democrat who's opposed to interracial marriage, or else more Democrats would have voted for this one. Racist!
Greg Gutfeld doesn't just argue, he destroys. Every exchange turns into scorched earth chaos that leaves no room for survivors. Courteous debate isn't his style. He slices through nonsense like a political buzzsaw, powered by sarcasm sharper than steel, and energy that tears through any script in its path. So when Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett stepped into the spotlight with her usual flair for theatrics and hunger for attention, a collision wasn't possible. It was guaranteed. And when it hit, the shock shook the stage. The moment she tried to inflate her committee drama into a grand spectacle, she walked straight into her own downfall. Her biggest mistake? Believing Gutfeld would handle her with the soft touch she gets from the mainstream media. Instead, he came armed with no restraint, no filter, and absolutely no mercy. And it only got wilder from there. Instead of playing it safe,
Plantation.
Tyrus, I go to you for no particular reason. Is she making any point there?
Like this makes me wish my mom made different father choices. Because we all get sucked into this. Like, this is, if you're gonna talk about black history, at least know it. This is, at least know it, okay?
Jasmine Crockett charged straight into the lion's den, unprepared, overconfident, and completely outmatched. Substance wasn't her strength, performance was. She's built her image as a showman disguised as a politician, skilled at shouting down opponents, tossing out catchy buzzwords, and staging TikTok-ready moments. Her career thrives on dramatic outbursts, viral comebacks, and treating every microphone like an audition for applause. To her loyal fans, it looks like passion for justice. But to everyone else watching, it's empty noise wrapped in shameless self-promotion. Greg Gutfeld doesn't waste time on noise. He slices straight through it with sniper-like precision and that sly grin that warns. He already knows how this will end, and you won't like it.
But it goes back to, that was 45 seconds of some of the, like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass talk. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation and factories? Get rid of the lottery. Open it up. Talk to the president. Like, hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea besides, any of y'all want to pick cotton? We're like, we're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? It's like the extreme stupidness of what she speaks. I'm so angry right now. And
when Jasmine Crockett delivered her latest over-the-top act, a mix of finger-pointing, exaggerated drama, and predictable deflection, Gutfeld didn't step in to politely debate. He stepped in to dismantle, and he did it with surgical sarcasm. Each line hit like a verbal punch, painting the exact picture everyone secretly saw but never dared to voice. Crockett wasn't standing there as a serious leader. She was exposed as a performer addicted to attention, clinging to viral theatrics and outrage. Like armor, every time she raised her voice, he countered with silence that hit harder than words. Every time she tried to twist the narrative, he met her with a smirk that said everything without saying anything at all. His confidence was unsettling.
She's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
When the wheels fall off.
You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Cold, steady, and deliberate. The crowd could feel it too. What started as her show quickly became his stage, and by the time she realized it, the damage was already done. Gutfeld didn't just roast her performance, he rewrote the script in real time, reducing her fiery display to a flickering flame gasping for air. She wasn't stepping up to challenge ideas, she was performing for herself. Instead of asking real questions, Jasmine Crockett delivered one-woman monologues meant for applause, not progress. Each line she fired off sounded polished, practiced, and hollow, crafted for quick clips and easy clicks rather than genuine dialogue. To Greg Gutfeld, that was the lowest form of political theater imaginable. His response didn't need to be loud, it was sharp, deliberate, and dripping with precision. Gutfeld didn't have to shout, he simply held up a mirror, and what Crockett saw staring back at her wasn't confidence or courage. It was empty rhetoric, glaring contradictions, and the shaky logic holding up her entire persona. This clash wasn't just another heated exchange, it was the collapse of a character built for cameras. Crockett has long branded herself as the self-proclaimed queen of committee theatrics.
Kilmeade, she's getting to be the face of that party.
I know, thanks to your show.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more popular, this or The View on Gutfeld. But a couple of things. Did you see, at first I thought she was doing it for comedic purposes, but you watch back, nobody had a response. They didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And she's like, oh, really? Farming? Yes, it's called eating, farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it, and the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. So I was just stunned by what she's saying. But the weird thing is, she probably left that room thinking she knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that anyone can stop her from being the face of the party, except Bernie Sanders, who's 111 years old, talking about oligarchs.
Mastering the art of dramatic pauses, exaggerated gestures, and buzzword-laced speeches tailor-made for viral clips. Every appearance was another episode in a never-ending show fueled by outrage. But this time, the act failed. Her once flawless timing and exaggerated passion fell flat because Gutfeld stripped it all bare. With every calm remark and every cutting glance, he exposed the over-rehearsed performance hiding behind her so-called passion, revealing not a fighter for truth, but an actor whose script had finally run out of lines. Gutfeld tore through the illusion with ruthless precision, shredding the contradictions hidden inside every one of Jasmine Crockett's emotional outbursts. One moment she preached unity, and the next she accused anyone who challenged her of conspiring to silence her so-called brilliance. He didn't let that slide. With icy calm, Gutfeld called it exactly what it was, a performance, polished and packaged to disguise the truth, that beneath the noise, there was very little of substance. The more she spoke, the clearer it became that behind all the fiery speeches and righteous slogans stood a record thin enough to vanish under scrutiny.
Do you have an opinion on this? Or should I move on to somebody?
No, I just... It has to come from me.
Yes.
Okay. None of y'all are qualified. Not just for one thing. I'm mad at Charmaine the guy because he should have kicked her out. See, the problem is that we are allowing our own culture to be openly racist and get away with it. Now, if a white person is offended by that, and they should be, they say something. It's like it's not the same thing. But if you say that, and another brother looks at you and goes, man, you wrong for that. and I don't want you on my show. Get the hell out, because I'm telling you right now, if I was not on the show, which happens sometimes, and someone was sitting in his chair and he was complaining about black men this and black that, and they shouldn't be here, and you know what happens when a white woman marries a black guy, you would not have seen that guy in the next segment. He would have kicked his ass off, because you're not going to talk about somebody that I care about like that, or another person like that. That's the problem.
When Gutfeld shifted from sarcasm to substance, the tone changed completely. He went deeper, drilling straight into her record, or rather the absence of one. He highlighted the uncomfortable truth: no landmark bills, no real policy wins, no achievements that justified the spectacle. Just a collection of viral clips recycled for attention. For all her energy, her legacy in Congress was as hollow as her buzzwords. Gutfeld didn't need to shout or gloat. His quiet dismantling said it all. By the end, he made one thing brutally clear: Crockett wasn't a leader. She was a brand, a performer mistaking chaos for charisma, outrage for influence. The applause she craved had turned into silence, and that silence was deafening. Crockett's defenders wasted no time rushing to her side, unleashing waves of outrage and predictable accusations. They cried identity politics, called every critique an act of bias, and painted her as a victim of fear and hate. But Greg Gutfeld wasn't having any of it. He sliced through their noise with surgical precision, making one point crystal clear: criticism isn't hatred, it's accountability. And if accountability feels like an attack, maybe politics isn't the right stage.
Yes. Yeah, all right, stop it. Although I must say you have great taste. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Oh, man. Okay.
His calm dismantling of their narrative turned the outrage into background noise, leaving the facts to speak louder than any slogan. Meanwhile, the public reaction was merciless. Within minutes, social media caught fire. Memes flooded every corner of the internet. One viral image showed Gutfeld towering over a cartoonish Crockett with the caption, "Sit down and learn something." Another replayed the clash like a knockout reel, slow motion, full humiliation. But the harshest truth of all was simple: this disaster was self-made. No one forced her into it. No one baited her. She stepped into the spotlight on her own, microphone in hand, eager for the performance, and forgot who she was up against. Gutfeld doesn't spar, he scorches. While she tried to spin, shout, and deflect her way out, he responded with wit sharp enough to slice steel. Every line he delivered landed with precision, leaving Crockett scrambling for footing as the audience erupted around her. It was like watching someone try to fight fire with glitter. Flashy, desperate, and doomed from the start. Every move Jasmine Crockett made only fueled the flames. Even her usual supporters began quietly stepping back.
Jesse, they called Musk a Nazi, and next thing you know, you got swastikas on cars. They called Trump Hitler and a Nazi and a fascist, and he got shot. So I don't really ever see that happening on the Republican side when we make fun of Democrats. It's also about the supporters. It's not just the leaders. It seems like Democrats are easily programmed to do bad things.
Yes, they are. They're very easily programmed, Greg.
I made you say that.
Realizing this was a disaster no one wanted to defend, Greg Gutfeld wasn't just tearing apart one overblown statement. He was dismantling an entire style of performance politics, where noise replaces thought and theatrics stand in for truth. With humor as sharp as a blade, he lit up the room and left no corner untouched. His words weren't shouted, they were calculated, laced with mockery so controlled it hit harder than any yell ever could. Then came the knockout moment. After slicing through her logic, mocking her theatrics, and exposing her paper-thin record, Gutfeld turned the spotlight toward what real leadership looks like. Leadership, he reminded everyone, isn't about shouting louder than your critics or performing outrage for views. It isn't built on slogans, hashtags, or viral tantrums. It's about action, about results that outlast applause. And Crockett's show had none of it. In that moment, the contrast was painful. Gutfeld stood steady and unbothered, while Crockett's once bold persona crumbled under the weight of its own emptiness. She had walked into that stage seeking validation, but left with a brutal lesson.
First, they cursed, now they thirst for blood. Jasmine Crockett is upping her temper tantrums, now saying the only way Democrats can win elections is by throwing hands.
I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. It's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right?
When you trade authenticity for attention, someone like Greg Gutfeld will always be waiting to expose the act and leave you standing in the ashes. This wasn't just a takedown, it was a warning broadcast in real time. Greg Gutfeld didn't simply dismantle Jasmine Crockett's act, he turned it into a brutal lesson for every politician addicted to the sugar rush of social media applause. For those who mistake shouting for strength and viral clips for credibility, his performance was a wake-up call. With relentless sarcasm and icy confidence, Gutfeld carved through their entire playbook with one unspoken message. We see you. We're not impressed. The truth hit hard. This wasn't a debate, and it was never a fair fight. It was a collision between substance and spectacle lost in spectacular fashion. It felt like the intellectual version of an ambush. Unexpected, devastating, and unforgettable. Gutfeld walked in armed with logic and sarcasm while Crockett tried to rally her audience with buzzwords and outrage. But the crowd wasn't buying it this time. Her credibility sank faster than a ship taking on water, and what followed was pure silence.
Now, she claims that she wasn't talking about Abbott's wheelchair at all. Yet she's mentioned Abbott's wheels before. In 2022, she posted Beto's rolling around the state. Where's Abbott rolling to? And according to the Washington Free Beacon, Crockett also liked several Facebook comments referring to Abbott as Hot Wheels back in 2020.
The kind of silence that hums with secondhand embarrassment. The energy drained from the room as people realized they weren't watching a victory speech. They were witnessing a collapse. The cheers she expected never came. The applause she waited for never arrived. All that remained was the sting of defeat and the uncomfortable truth that this moment, once meant to boost her brand, had just rewritten it instead into a cautionary tale for everyone chasing clout over clarity. Jasmine Crockett scrambled to recover, flailing like a machine short-circuiting under pressure. Words poured out, phrases like systemic oppression, voice of the people, and the classic let me finish. But none of them landed. Each line bounced off Greg Gutfeld's calm, unshaken grin. It was like watching someone try to extinguish a firestorm by yelling at it. Loud, frantic, but completely useless. Gutfeld stood steady, dissecting her points one by one with surgical precision. His composure made the contrast brutal. While Crockett's frustration grew louder, his voice stayed even, his delivery sharp and effortless. It was destruction disguised as calm. Every sentence he delivered felt rehearsed by confidence itself, measured, biting, almost comedic in its rhythm. Thank you for your outrage, his expression seemed to say. Please hold while we find someone who cares.
How long is she going to keep this thing that she wasn't talking about, the wheelchair?
Yeah. Come on, babe, you know you're full of and all that, Jasmine. I think what happened was AOC was like, you guys, I need to triangulate and be serious now because I'm going to be a senator. So someone has to be a talking attention whore. Who's it going to be? And Jasmine raised her hand and goes, excuse me, Congresswoman Cortez, I speak jive.
What it is, mama.
He wasn't just winning, he was cruising, unbothered, as if his mind had already moved on to lunch. You could almost hear soft elevator music playing in the background while she tried desperately to regain control. The audience, meanwhile, was enthralled. Every sarcastic jab detonated like fireworks in a room full of fragile egos. Laughter erupted, cameras flashed, and the scene transformed into a spectacle. Crockett's self-proclaimed moment of courage, collapsing into the perfect example of what happens when loud theatrics collide head-on with cold, merciless reality. Her supporters rushed to contain the fallout, frantically posting defenses and spinning new narratives within minutes of the broadcast. Twitter threads appeared like wildfire. Think pieces popped up overnight, and emotional posts flooded Instagram, each one trying desperately to reframe what had just happened. But no hashtag, no carefully worded statement could erase the scorch marks left behind. The damage was permanent. This wasn't a stumble, it was a collapse. The Empress hadn't just been exposed. She was live streaming her own undoing in real time for millions to see. And Gutfeld? He didn't gloat. He didn't even linger. He had already walked away. Expression calm, victory sealed. His silence said everything. This wasn't some petty spat. It was an autopsy of modern politics. A dissection of every grandstanding figure who confuses social clout for leadership and emotional outbursts for courage. The sharpest part of it all wasn't his mockery. It was his composure. He never raised his voice, never slammed a table, never lost control. Fact after fact rolled off his tongue with the precision of a late-night comic who'd seen the same circus too many times. Gutfeld wasn't angry. He was bored. And that boredom cut deeper than rage ever could. Crockett stayed on stage, clutching the microphone, waiting for applause that never came. It was politics turned into tragic theater, her passion echoing through an empty room. If you like this video, then subscribe.